Welcome one and all to yet another video on the channel. Today we're going to do something a little different. I'd like to answer some questions from the indie writing community. Now, to be clear, these questions weren't specifically directed at me. They were just asked by other writers in the writer community to the writer community. And as I'm a writer myself, I thought I would go ahead and throw my 2 words in. First question is hashtag writing community. Do you describe what your characters are wearing? Does it matter? For me, the answer is yes and yes. It's quite important to me to describe what my characters are wearing, and it is quite important generally to do so, in my opinion. The reason being, what we wear defines us to a degree. How we present ourselves has a lot to do with how others perceive us. This is true in real life, and it's true in writing. When people read what your character is wearing, they already get a sort of picture of their personality just by what they're wearing. For instance, hobbits in Lord of the Rings wear breeches, suspenders, and never shoes or socks. Even from that, you have an idea of their personality. The fact that they do not wear shoes on their, rather large, hairy feet already gives you an indication of kind of, oh, those hobbits are kind of like easygoing, laid back. They don't need socks. Let that wind just between those toes. Whereas the Rangers, the Dunedain, they're always in hooded cloaks and boots. That gives you an idea of kind of what they're about right there. So in my novel, Strife of the Mighty, we have Brandigan and Parma. Brandigan is, let's keep spoilers to a minimum here, Brandigan wanders around. He does a lot of traveling. It was necessary for him to have a hooded cloak, keep out that wind, that rain, He also, his clothes are stained, they're weather-worn, they're dirty, but they're heavy and hardy. So it was important to just mention, hey, this is what he wears, this is how he dresses. He's a traveler. He's got to wear what he got to wear. Now, Parma had settled down, right? She was in Crete as a healer. As such, her dress needed to reflect that, but also I wanted it to be a little unique. So she has a purple robe. It's not a robe of royalty, but it is something a little unique about her character. Nobody else in the story is actually mentioned to be wearing a purple robe. So yes and yes, I do describe what my character is wearing, not for 5 pages or anything, and yes, I feel it's quite important to do so. Next question. Good morning, hashtag writing community. A weird question for you all. Have you ever written or read a chapter that lasted 1 to 3 pages? What were your thoughts? I never wrote a chapter in any of my novels that was only 1 page that made it into the final draft. That is yet subject to change, however. Book 3 that I'm working on right now has a 1-page chapter in it. It may or may not make it to the final draft. We'll see. However, I have read some books that had 1-page chapters in them. One that stands out to me notably was Life of Pi, the story about the young Indian lad that was stranded at sea with a tiger called Richard Parker. I'm sure you guys, if you guys didn't read the book, I'm sure you guys saw the movie. So I read the book. Great book, by the way. 4 out of 5 stars. Solid storytelling, interesting writing, good story. I recommend it. But there was a chapter in there, and spoilers coming. Spoilers for the story. Okay, it has to do with when the ship sinks and his family drowns. It's in there where it's only like, it's not even a full page. I think it's half a page or less, maybe just a couple paragraphs where he's, okay, the ship sank. The ship sank, they all died, and I was lost at sea. That's pretty much what the chapter says. That was an example of a 1-page chapter. And when I first read that, I was like, interesting. But it didn't take me out of the story, and it didn't take anything from the story for me. I don't feel any way about, short chapters, but they had to fit. If you sandwich a 1-page chapter in between 2 15-page chapters, and in the middle of an action sequence, and all you want to do is inject something that could have fit into either of those 2 15-page chapters, but you're giving it to me on this 1-page chapter, we might have some disagreements. But other than that, I don't really see any problem with it or anything, and I think, frankly, when it's done well, it works pretty good. Next question. Hi, hashtag writing community. I feel like all writers have a grammar pet peeve, some sort of writing mistake that just takes us out of the moment every time. What is your grammar pet peeve? Badly placed periods. Periods that shouldn't be periods. Periods that should be commas. Periods that should be commas that should not be commas at all. Periods that interject themselves in between the in-betweens of sentences that shouldn't be there. Periods that in between the description of a singular item, place, or person. Sentences like, I went down, period, to the grocery store, period. She was there too, period. Looking at me, period. Her eyes are hungry. Period. Staring at me like a swollen gland. Period. What is that? I'm not even gonna. That's my pet peeve. That's a pet peeve. And finally, hashtag fellow writers. Pen and paper versus computer. How do you write? I've never been very good at getting my handwriting down very fast. I'm just one of those people. Computer pretty much all the time. But I started out with I started with pencil and paper. Started out with pencil and paper, then moved to pen, then moved to an old computer, like a really old computer, talking like a 90s computer. Then moved to a typewriter. Actually got a typewriter and used that for a while. Then finally upgraded to a semi-decent computer that I could use and type pretty well on. I just prefer the feeling of getting more done with typing because I can type out 1,500 words in a sitting, as opposed to, I don't know, maybe 500 words has been max, and sitting down writing with my hands. That's just how it goes with me. So I definitely prefer computer, mainly because of the speed. I'm not the fastest of typers on the planet, but you know, when I get going, I can get going. And that was answering some questions from the Twitter writing community. I think this video is long enough. Like if you enjoyed, please share, and subscribe to the channel if you so desire. There are more videos coming, and changes as well. Until the next video,